Some more reaction on the verdict delivered today in London. I'm joined now live by Liberty campaigner Paul Whiffen, also of the UK Independence Party. Thank you for joining us today. Is it now inevitable, do you think, that Julian Assange will actually be sent to Sweden?
It's certainly looking more and more likely. I mean, there's always the possibility of another appeal. The problem is that this European arrest warrant, wretched thing, gives you very few grounds to actually tackle it on. They're not supposed to look at the quality of evidence. They're not supposed to do anything other than parcel you up and ship you off. We've seen with people like Andrew Symeou that there were various appeals even up to the level of the Lords, but at the end of the day they keep coming back with, well, under the European arrest warrant we're not supposed to look at the case. That's for the magistrates and the prosecutors. When you talk about
looking at the case, it is bizarre. Certainly, I mean, Julian Assange said today that the European arrest warrant is so restrictive that it prevents UK courts from considering the facts. What does he mean? Is he right on this?
Absolutely. It's a formal procedure rather than we're used to extradition orders where, typically a British judge would look at the facts and decide, is there a prima facie case to enter, and in a British court would it stand some chance of being a successful prosecution. Now, the European arrest warrant did away with all that between the member states of the European Union. Now, when Andrew Symeou was sent over to Greece, and we recently only got him back after 3 years almost that the case was going on, he spent over 12 months in a filthy Greek prison, and the case, when it was finally brought to court, what with the magistrates and the prosecutors on strike in Greece, the case seemed to last forever, although he was only about 10 days in court, and it collapsed. The judge threw it out because the evidence was so poor.
So the judge threw it out. I mean, that case collapsed. I'm sorry to interrupt you. That case collapsed. But yes, if I may, just bring it back to the main central line here. Assange has expressed fears that extradition to Sweden means handing him over to the US, where he could face trial for publishing documents on Wikileaks, even possibly face the death penalty. But can I ask you that why is it that it has to go through Stockholm first?
Well, because we believe that the reason that the thing is going through Stockholm is that this is a fabricated case to get him out of the UK, where in the past, with McKinnon, we've shown that we're not just prepared to deliver someone to the American authorities. So we think that the European arrest warrants being used by the Swedish authorities, who are more friendly towards the American way of doing things, just to get him there. We're worried that as soon as he sets foot on Swedish soil, this whole case will disappear and he will be arrested under an American extradition, not this case that is being brought at the moment. As I understand it, no formal charges have been laid. The investigators say they're still investigating. There's a lot of worry about the quality of the evidence, and they don't actually seem to be doing anything like charging him. So we're being asked to send someone off without any formal charges being laid to answer questions to investigating prosecutors, without any knowledge of when it's exactly the same as what happened with Andrew Symeou. They didn't have a court date set, they didn't have any evidence properly collated. The evidence that we were able to see seemed to suggest someone who looked completely different from Andrew Symeou, but this European way of doing things, of ship the person off, bang them up in prison, and then start trying to put a case together.
Well, as you said moments ago, when it does come to the issue of Julian Assange, as you mentioned, and as Assange mentioned earlier today, he faces no formal charges in any country in the world. But if I may, just for a moment here, Assange has been one of the most influential people on the planet. Is there any chance that he could try and take that to his advantage, to use that?
Well, we think he has done. Andrew Symeou didn't last anything like as long as this in this country before he was shipped off. We only think that it's Assange's celebrity, his international status, and the fact that people like yourselves are looking at this under a microscope that's made it last this long. We think if he'd been a normal member of the public, like the rest of us, he would have been swept off to Sweden a long time ago. And that's our real worry with the European arrest arrest warrant that people get picked up and dumped in another country very quickly. Now, Assange's celebrity, they couldn't sweep this one under the carpet. You know, it's been the attention of media focus. I remember when it was at the Strand, one of the journalists there said he hadn't seen that many news cameras since the Birmingham 6 release. That shows you the size of the case in terms of international attention, and we think it's only that that's kept him in this country this long. We think that he should appeal again, but our worry is that this European arrest warrant just doesn't give any grounds for
well, he is, you know, Julian Assange will be launching another appeal, and certainly this is by no means the end of it.
Yes, I've only just heard that.
Yeah, indeed.
Yes.
So, but Mr. Whitman, I'm so sorry. I'm terribly sorry, but that really is all the time we have for today. But another time, we'd love to take this further.
Thank you
Paul
very
Whitman
much.
of the UK Independence Party and Liberty campaigner. Thank you.
Thank you.